Okay, so Will brought up the good idea of us actually recording this because yesterday we had a great conversation late night, as always, fucking 2 to 3 a.m., about gaming literacy. And at the end, I was like, wait a second, fuck, this would have been a great podcast episode for getting my rants, which I said I would do at some point this year, but I've not done any of, which is fine. But what we were doing is we were going to talk about some of the post worlds players and also some domestic players. This is mostly going to be like post worlds, also before spring 2023, just tier listing them. Well, not even tier listing them ish, right? So let's start with top lane. So I don't. This might be
Are you doing it
controversial.
by position, or are you just doing it by?
Yeah, we're doing it by position. We're doing it by
Oh,
position.
okay. I thought you were just doing it overall.
So if we go by top lane first, I'll be honest. I still think 369 looked the best at Worlds. I think even in the T1 series, he looked better than Zeus. I'm going to put 369 in S tier. But I'm also going to put Zeus there. I do think Zeus.
There's got to be a copium S tier for my boy King, the greatest of all
All right,
time. Never do it.
I'll, I'll put Kingen in question marks because it's honestly impossible to evaluate Kingen because he did well in like one series. You know what I mean? Like he did better than other top laners like Doran in multiple series, but he did well in that like one series. You know what I mean?
Promise you, we didn't get to see him like against Zeus. That he smurfed his ass off.
Yeah.
But like,
Against
you know,
Doran and Flandre, he looked like the same, pretty much, if not slightly better. Which is makes
yeah,
sense to
he was
me.
definitely better than Doran in that series. But Doran, it's not like he had to do much to be better than Doran in that series. They kind of just sat there.
In my normal S tier, I think as far as worlds goes, thinking of worlds players,
Probably
I
breathe, right?
you're a Nuguri hater. Yeah, I put Breathe here. I don't think there's anyone else I would put up in that category. It was basically like 369 Zeus were the best, and then Breathe like came after that. And then if we were to say like A tier, I would put like that's when I would think it's kind of like that's where I would actually put like Kingen is like right there. I think he that's pretty much where I thought he looked. After that, I would say like Nuguri looked pretty solid. Like I know you're a Nuguri hater, but I think he looked better than let's say like
Compared to other
yeah,
people,
he
yeah,
looked better
he's
than
definitely
Flandre,
better.
right? Like Flandre is pretty B tier. He wasn't an Inter. Flandre was better than all the um all the Western tops, but he wasn't like a complete shitter. And I think in that light, you kind of have Flandre, and then going in order, it would be like Flandre, Doran, like in that B tier, right? Flandre, Doran, and I think someday an Impact look around that.
Yeah.
I think Impact was no. I think someday carried harder though. I wait actually. I kind of
You
want
think
to put.
Broken Blade was better though,
It's hard to say because I think the best Western top it
or
looked like was
Wonder?
Odo Omne or Wonder. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they couldn't play Fiora was one of the other issues. Flandre.
Wayward was pretty okay.
I thought. Wait,
He
really? I
wasn't he
thought
wasn't
Wayward was
amazing.
Shit week one though. It's hard for me to even put
Yeah. Oh
Wayward
yeah,
in B
he did
tier.
have a bad week one.
Yeah, I want to put Wayward in C tier, but
Unironically, like if this was just solely based off of worlds, honestly, Robo might be pretty fucking. He was crazy this worlds. Granted, he didn't really. He only was in
yeah, they
play-ins,
didn't
but
make it past
but
Overshadow known of.
every he solo killed what's his name a couple times. Can't remember, but dude was cracked. Robo was cracked, and so was Evie. Evie was pretty good too, but that's only for specifically worlds.
Yeah, I have to do B minus for Doran and someday because they did not transfer leads as well with Fiora. They're good, and then I'll put Impact in the same tier. And then go into C tier. I will put actually. I think Wonder was similar in this tier. I think Wonder. It's hard between Wonder and Odo Omne. Odo Omne only lost though because he was playing against. It seemed like 369 and Nuguri, but he probably would have been beaten by anyone who could play Fiora Aatrox. So I don't know if Odo Omne goes in the same tier necessarily. Hard to say. Do you think Odo Omne was better than Wonder? I'm not sure.
Uh, I think so.
You think
I
so?
don't know.
Do you think he was better than Impact? Because I thought Impact was like looked good in some
I thought
games.
Impact was like the only like consistent part of EG's run at Worlds,
That's true.
but that's kind of just his thing as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll put Odo between Someday and Impact. Then I do think Someday looked a bit more versatile, but yeah, Impact probably was a bit more solid, or Odomne was a bit more solid back there. And then in C tier, Wayward was just really bad. Wayward, see if he recovers in spring, but he did not look great. Other players that did not look great. I'll put. Do you think Broken Blade was that strong? I felt like
Nah,
I
thinking back on it now, he was not actually that
I
good.
think BB was also like pretty mediocre, and I think Fudge was also pretty C tier. That's all the main, basically all the main players. Okay, so that's all the main players for top lane that ended up in worlds normally. I'm not gonna rank rest in Kiaya because I don't know enough, but thinking back domestically, we still have LCK. We have who do we have domestically? Keen. Where do you think Keen would go in on this? Like thinking on the new year, because I think Keen is kind of washed, but I don't think he's like worse than Flandre. I actually think Keen would be like A tier, like A minus tier,
I think he'd be the top of B tier.
top of B tier, so B
I
plus.
don't think he's good enough to be an A.
I'll give
I
him a
think
B
he's
plus here.
the problem is he just hasn't had a good year in a while. He's kind of just been okay.
Yeah, Keen has not looked great. Um, I definitely don't think Keen. The thing is, like his team was bad, but like all of Afrika looked really bad this year. Even Teddy looked like pretty shit this year. So I don't want to like completely like hand wave him off, but I do think Keen. I do trust him a bit more than Flandre and anyone else like below. Other notable people, Morgan and Rascal and Kana. Kana looked awful. I don't even want to rate him. Um, Morgan on Fred at Brion was not great. Rascal was okay on KT. Yeah, there's not too much purpose on ranking Morgan and Rascal. I would probably put them also like in the B tier category, to be honest, a B minus tier category.
Just looking at some of the stats from the tournament, I think Wonder has to move down, and because Broken Blade outstats him in every single stat.
Really? Okay.
CS per minute and KDA
And Broken Blade was playing against better
damage.
top laners too, probably. Wonder was
Yeah,
playing against.
Wonder is second worst when it comes to
Okay.
CS per minute damage. He's worse than Kiaya. Kiaya out damaged and out CS him.
I think Kiai was against worse top laners though than
Oh,
Wonder was.
for
To be
sure. He
fair,
was playing against uh
he's playing
Wonder.
against um yeah, of the top laners I think that are important from LCK, I would say that's about it. In terms of LPL top laners, okay, we have the Shy. Where would you put the Shy on here?
The Shy is the hardest person
He's
to
so
rank
hard to
because
rank. He's so hard to rank.
last year when watching him, I would just tune into like a casual video, and it's the Shy. Oh my god, the Shy! And the casual would be talking about the Shy.
Yeah.
If you look 1 second, he looks like the greatest player of all time. The next, you look like game one, he's playing Jax. He's turbo smurfing. Game two, he's like 0-11. It's like what the fuck happened? He's on Gwen and he just turbo died. And
All right,
then
you want to put the Shy in B plus tier then, or is he still A tier because he's good enough? Because I put Nuguri in A tier, so the Shy is like a more
I'm
volatile
good with the
Nuguri.
Shy. I think the Shy's B plus.
B plus. All right, all
I'd
right.
put
You think he's
Keen is
ahead of Keen or
consistent,
the Shy?
and
You put Keen or the Shy ahead of him? Who would you rather have on your
I'd
team right now, Keen or
I'd
the
rather
Shy?
Kane.
Okay,
Keen is
okay,
safer.
okay, okay.
Because top lane, I'd want a more stable player top lane.
Then where would you put Bin? Because Bin looked more stable all year than the Shy, but he was also
Yeah,
like an Inter. Do you think he's just S tier with Breathe, even though he's more of an Inter?
Ben mechanically is S tier for sure. I don't know if he's. I don't know how good he is though.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
true.
how much of it. How much because top lane was like
I think
felt
Bin
like
is worse than Zeus though,
super.
because I think Bin and Breathe
Yeah,
overall pretty
he's definitely worse
similar,
than Zayas. I think
but
Zayas and 369 are definitely obviously cleared S tiers,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
think there's no one else that is even close.
Yeah, because
But
the thing is like even at MSI, the reason Bin was able to lane into Zeus was because Gwen existed, so they could pick things that like were less oppressive, right? But if they had to play matchups that were like melee, it would be much harder for Bin because Zayas is just the better player.
Yeah, because this year was tough because I felt like watching, at least from a spectator's perspective, there's so much constant, so much action topside
Yeah,
compared to
it had a lot
past
to do with
years.
junglers too. You know,
Yeah,
like
it was a lot of playing towards top, getting a lot of Rift Herald prio. So it was, you got to see a lot more top lane this year. So when the top laners like didn't perform, you don't know how much that was their team just not playing towards that, or yeah, it's tough.
yeah, I'll put Bin because he's similar to Breathe. Similar enough. He's less consistent, but he was better on carries than Breathe was. But I'll put him slightly below for that. Another player I would rate from here, I'll put Allah in the same category as the Shy and Keen. I'll put Allah actually below the Shy. He had worse form than the Shy, but he was also similarly a carry player. And then I'm going to put Rich in C tier. Actually, no, I'm going to put Rich in D tier. I don't want to see him in LPL next year because in spring he looked pretty good. But by the time summer came around, even spring playoffs, like he was just inting. Like the guy looked like one of the best weak side carries in like spring and like laning phase, and then by summer, this guy was just fucking troll. Okay, LCS top laners. So we have Someday and Impact. We also put Fudge here. Tenacity might be on a mainline roster. Where would you rank Tenacity?
You can't rank him.
He's not on here.
Unrankable
He's
right
not on
now.
here. Okay, he's not on here. All right.
Nah, I don't think any LCS players deserve to be on a tier
What
list.
about my boy Solo? Can I put my boy Solo on here?
Solo's a bot. Fudge shouldn't even be on this list. He sucks.
I would
He
have
should be
Fudge
D
over
tier.
Rich. I would take Fudge over Rich, to be honest. Oh,
Really? I don't know,
okay.
man.
Actually, that is a good point. That is
He's
hard.
got a harder competition. Fudge looks bad, honestly.
It is. It is true. It's
Fudge
not.
plays Fiora. He's a Fiora one trick this past season. That was
Fudge looked so
season
bad at Fiora at Worlds, which was just tragic. Oh my god. Yeah, it was not pretty. Uh, what other good LEC top laners are? We had. Oh, Photon's gonna be. Like, we can't really rank him. He's
Armut?
gonna be a rookie.
Nah,
But
Armut sucks.
yeah, Armut would also be in. I would put Armut in D
He
tier
was getting
actually.
dropped.
Yeah, Armut was really ass. Oh, Finn sadly is going to be gone. Also, Alfari I would put up there, but we've pretty much got all the people we would want. Here. Okay, let's go to jungle then. Okay,
Oh,
this
easy.
is obvious. It's Canyon. It's Canyon. No one even touches Canyon.
I
Honestly,
think
here.
Canyon. Honestly, I think Canyon might have had the outside of. I can't. I don't know if it's Canyon or Zeka. I think had the best tournament. I
I
think
think
Zeka just has the problem is they went further, so you got to see a lot of Zeka. But man, Canyon was putting that team on his back
yeah.
so hard.
Even when they were behind in game 5, the 3-man Kane W into like
Yeah.
Showmaker being able to Syndra stun was fucking crazy.
That series was crazy because Canyon was crazy. He was literally smurfing. It looked like Solo Kid. He was just running around, just turbo, just carrying.
Yeah, yeah.
It
I
was
think this
crazy.
was insane. Um, I don't like the other jungler like that gets close with S tier is basically like Kanavi. Like he's the only one that gets close, but Canyon was like much stronger performance. He carried way
Yeah.
harder than Kanavi did. And Canyon, it seemed like he had a more diverse pool. Like his jungle pathing was
Yeah.
more unique. Kanavi worked
In the
better.
A tier, I think literally you could throw
A
all
lot
the
of
other
people.
LCK junglers.
Yeah,
Like,
owner.
oh, you could throw Owner, Piosik, and Peanut all in there. Piosik probably at the bottom, but
Wait, really? It's hard because Piosik. It's difficult.
Piosik,
It's actually hard to rank.
Peanut had a really good group stage. That's the only reason I think he's where he's at. I think he was one of the best group stage junglers. But
Yeah, it's really hard to rank between owner, Piosik, and Peanut because Piosik also had like really bad moments too. Um, it's kind of hard to rank, to be honest. Who would you rather have on your team though, owner, Peanut, or Piosik? I think if you do it in that
uh,
order, you'd rather have what owner, then Peanut, then Piosik. That's probably the order you'd go.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
Owner's a talented player, but I don't know if
Yeah,
he's good enough to be on that next level. He just didn't show enough from the tournament. Probably a lot of that is just because their comps are super like basically trying to skill gap everyone. So
yeah,
it's
it's
harder when it
definitely.
doesn't pay off.
I definitely think he just really had like the T1 drafts are so bad. Like a lot of the time, they don't do them any favors. Like they play draft. I feel like that's why they win so many scrims is because they just draft like that in scrims and they just like giga stomp people. First like 20 minutes, right? I think Wei looked like the best of the LPL junglers outside of Kanavi, but like them not going for what is it called, Graves was really sus. After Wei, I think who do you have after Wei? A lot of like other junglers didn't make as much of an impact. Like Malrong, he had his own flaws.
From actually like, because if I'm not ranking off of worlds,
Hmm.
because off of a world's performance, I think honestly Levi's like the next up,
Oh yeah,
just
I
because
think you could put Levi
he
here right
literally
now. Yeah,
was the because they play through jungle and
yeah,
he was their entire team. Like I think he was one of the highest in damage percentage when he was jungling. I think he had a really good tournament, even though obviously their team sucks, but they still went, same as most NA teams that won five. But
yeah. Uh,
because TN's definitely like
Ian looked really bad at
better,
Worlds though.
but he looked really
Really
bad.
better bad at Worlds. There's the TES players will be
Because
getting a
he has high
interesting.
expectations. Him and JJ have so much higher expectations, but they just look bad.
Yeah,
Azurk looked really bad. Blabbers looked horrible.
yeah. I'm gonna put JJ here in C tier at the top of C tier. I do think he looked a bit better than TN. I think after JJ, like if you think about what junglers you would want, like let me list out the pool, right? This is not necessarily the rankings, but like you have Yankos, you have Razork, um, you have Razork,
Closer.
You have Closer, you have Blabber, you have Inspired. Yeah, so like where would you? I think the next one it's hard because like each of them had like bad games and good games. I feel like Closer was just so suffocated. Every game I watched him play, it looked like 100 Thieves was just getting gapped like in mid lane and bot lane, and I was like, wow, Closer can't do shit. He just has to play around someday. When I'm watching like um EG, I was like, damn, Inspired is like getting like a good amount of farm, but like it's not really transferring. Nothing's really happening. Like, what's going on
Yeah.
here? You know. So I don't know.
Yeah. Just looking at the charts that I'm looking at, the all three closer just got bodied. Not as hard as Blabber did, but Inspired is definitely the best of the three
Okay.
NAs. I think Blabber was probably one of the worst junglers at Worlds. I think he's worse than Gemini, the guy from the Clams team, or whatever. The best EU jungler was Razork by far.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Inspired is higher than Closer, but still I think it put him in C minus.
You
They just
think
had a
Inspired
bad
into C
tournament.
minus as well? Okay.
Yeah, I just think they had a bad tournament. All NA teams had a really bad showing. So
I would put TN C minus then as well.
G2 had a really bad tournament. Yankos didn't play very well either, but granted, I think that was a lot of their team, a lot of their comps and stuff.
I think Malrang also could belong in just C tier, not C minus. I think Malron did
Yeah.
like fine for the most part. Like you know what you get with Malron. You know what I mean? Like you kind of get what you get with him. It is what it is. Um, okay, so ignoring this now we go on to domestic players we can put here. Oh, where would you put El Yoya? I actually thought El Yoya was really good. I'd put El Yoya in probably like
I think
A
Elliot is
tier.
the best EU jungle.
I would put him in like IB tier, like with well, not high to B tier, but B tier with Way and
Yeah,
Levi.
I'd put him in B.
Yeah,
I think Elliot is really good.
yeah. Like El Yoyo was like 1v5 Mad Lions pretty much a lot of the time. Like Niski was kind of inting, to be honest. A lot of games, it was that series. It looked like part of some of the games Niski was actually just fucking inting. Um, I'm gonna preemptively controversial. I'm gonna put Bo in A tier. I'll put him at the bottom of A tier, but
He ain't even played yet, bro.
I know, dude. Honestly, though, I would put Bo like S tier, but like he hasn't we haven't seen him comp in 2 years. But I'm gonna put him there, just preempt for next year. That's what I think Bo's gonna end up. Um, like I don't think he's gonna look as strong, like S plus and shit. But it is EU. We'll see what happens. I think Bo is still a very good player. NA players. Where would you put Spico, Will?
Fuck. God, I can't. Can you really rank Speaker off of last year at all?
No, you can't. His
Because
team was so
that team
shit.
just they decided just to give up. Like they were just trolling. Like in their games, they were not even like trying. Spica was not trying at all. I don't know where you put Spica.
Okay, fair enough. Um,
Realistically, Spica's the probably it, he's still a top four. He's still the next best jungler in NA. I don't know if he depends. Like I don't because I don't think he's not better than Inspired. Is he better than Closer and Blabber?
I think he's better
So
than Blabber, but
I think he's better than Blabber, but
but keep in mind how good C9 looked in the summer though. Like Blabber either looks like the best jungler in the league or the shittiest jungler in the league.
he's got so much
And by
variance.
the way, these lists aren't finalized. We'll go back through like because this is our first reaction like post worlds, but then we'll go back through and think about this like for the pre spring like thought process. It's like we're going a lot of this initial thought off like how they looked at worlds, but then we can go back and re rank like once we think about how they might perform. Um, I think that's all for junglers that I would want to touch on. All right, let's go to mid lane. This is when shit gets exciting.
This
Okay,
is tough because the mid laners this world's played really well. I think
Zika S
on
plus.
because even the ones that didn't make it far, like Knight played super well this
Not,
worlds, and he was
see,
like he
here's
didn't
the
even
problem.
make it that
I
far.
It's hard to rank Knight because TES as a whole didn't look good, but he was actually the only mid laner that Zika didn't actually like beat in
Because
lane.
he individually has the best stats of worlds.
Yeah, he was not
Uh,
Zika was not beating Knight
yeah,
a lot. Like Zika
he's got
beat
the highest KDA. He's got second highest damage behind Scout. His CS per minute is second, is third behind Chovy. He's behind Chovy and Humanoid for CS per minute.
yeah, of course he'd be behind fucking Chovy
Yeah,
for that. Okay, so
yeah.
here's what I want to do. I want to say Showmaker is S tier.
He also had the second highest kill participation. Like, yeah.
I want to put Showmaker as S tier. Um, I like if I were to take players right now on a team, right? I want Zika first. If I can't have Zika, I want Showmaker, right? Um,
I think I still want Knight.
you would. The difficulty is like his like the actual team performance. It like looks so bad, you know.
Showmaker's show. I think Knight's a better individual player. I think Showmaker works well because of Canyon. I think he's got a way better jungler.
He does have a way better jungler. That's true. Um, where would you put Chovy and Faker though? Because Faker, like, I know the
I'd
narrative
put
is that
Chovy next up.
I
I
know
would
that.
put
So
mine
you'd
would be Zika.
so you'd say
I
Knight,
put I put
Showmaker,
Knight,
Chovy.
Showmaker, Chovy.
Where
I
would you
think
put
Faker
Faker?
I'd put one tier down.
S minus.
Yeah, I thought Faker had a good worlds.
Yeah, I thought he
Like
looked
his
okay.
Azir games were really good, but outside of that, yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
weird
thought he
because I
was
feel like
okay.
there was a whole narrative around Faker, but I don't actually think that Faker was like I thought he did his job in the team. You know what I mean? By like
Yeah,
not being completely gapped. Um I would also put Scout. Like I would even put Scout
I put Scout with
above.
Faker
Oh, you'd put
or
Scout with
above
Faker.
Faker.
I think I'd put him like like
I
behind
thought T
Chovy.
was really good.
Yeah, Scout
I
was
thought
good
the
up until
mids
that
are
game
really
5.
good this
Yeah.
world.
I put Actually,
Scout was
Scout.
really
I
good.
think Scout looked better into Zika than Chovy did. I actually would put Scout ahead of
Probably,
Chovy here.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm.
Scout's individual stats are a lot better as well.
Yeah. Okay. So outside of those, then we have. Uh, I would put Xiaohu in A tier. I think Xiaohu. The problem is the team is very limited, but I actually think he's like quite a good player. But I think the team is limited. Couldn't put him too early. I would also put Yagao in a similar tier in A tier as well. I think
Yeah.
they're like a solid chunk, but
I would even potentially I would put maybe Larson just off of this past worlds.
yeah, I think he
Larson
deserves it
was
here.
Larson was probably one of the best performing Western players in the whole tournament.
Makes sense to me.
He tried his hardest to carry
Yeah, I
worlds,
would put him
and he
above
still couldn't
Caps.
do it.
You know. Oh, humanoid.
Yeah,
Humanoid. The
Humanoid
problem
was
is he's in a
second.
zero one Rick. I would put humanoid
Yeah,
in B plus. I do think
yeah.
humanoid was a little bit less like, than a bit less versatile than
Humanoid
Larson.
felt like Chovy at points where the team was losing, and you just see Humanoid in a side wave, kind of
Yeah.
just farming. So he's got really high CS numbers and stuff like that, and he ends up having high damage because he's playing Azir. But I
Uh,
thought he's definitely better than Caps.
I think JoJo
The
next.
best NA mid was Jensen, I think.
Really, I kind of liked JoJo. I feel like Jensen was not. until that last game against T1, he did not have like a great
Yeah,
performance.
granted, Jojo, like Jojo looks better because he tries to do things.
But he also
Jensen,
it makes his stats a lot worse because he ends up getting
yeah,
like
his
killed a
stats are
lot.
terrible because he doesn't. Jensen farms well and like tries to keep himself in the game, but they don't do anything. Abadaga played
Abadage is
pretty
C tier for
mid.
me. He looked like ass,
Yeah,
to be honest.
yeah.
So
I'm fine
Jojo,
with Jojo.
Jensen,
I'm fine with Jojo.
C tier, Abe. Niski also kind of looked lost with Abadage. I feel like Niski
Yeah,
looked a tier below Jojo when they
Niski looked
played.
really bad.
Yeah, I think he was a bit.
Niski looked like how he. See, the problem, Niski's such an interesting player because he goes from like being just an absolute stud, like potential, like top mid laner in Europe to being dropped like the next split to then coming back and basically winning MVP and then looking like he could be dropped again. I don't know what's up. He's a very swingy player, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, where would you put Bjergsen on here, Will?
Ah, I don't know.
C
I
tier.
don't even rank it.
I would
I
put
thought
Bjergsen.
Bjergsen was bad this
Yeah, I
year.
put him in C tier. I'd put him below
I
Abadage.
I'd
Like
put him. I'd put
unironically.
him D. I'd put him like C minus to D tier. Like I thought he was pretty bad. He
Burger.
was worse than Takui. Like, and that's saying
Takui
something.
was
Like,
actually like I would put him in C tier if he were here. Like, but he's gone for next year. Like, Takui's gonna be gone. Okay.
he's playing in LDLC.
What? Okay. So other important mid laners. We have to say this. Okay, it's Rookie. Um, I have to
Rookie
put
was godlike.
Rookie is above Knight here.
I
He
feel
has to
so
be S.
bad for this.
Yes, Rookie is actually I think like
He's
I
the best
I
LPL
think
mid.
he's like the best like he has been one of the best mid in the world consistently for like so many years now, and he's only gotten that like two runs, like the one in 2018 and the one in 2019, and it's very fucking unlucky for him. In the same vein, I would also say, oh, I forgot to rank Tarzan. This year Tarzan was probably like similar. Tarzan was actually a bit weaker this year, but I'd put him above weight. Tarzan. Um, Actually, no, Tarzan did not look great this year. He kind of is committing war crimes. I put him below. Put Tarzan. Um, okay, so rookies there. Uh, Xiaohu or not Xiao. What's his fucking name? Doinby. Doinby was actually like not bad this year, but I think he was a like kind of below Xiaohu and Yagao, so I put him B plus around humanoid this year. It did not look. There are some good parts, some bad. Are there any LCK mid laners we need to talk about? BDD did not look great this year. There's no real point ranking him. Paris, Chovy, Lava, Showmaker, Zika, Faker. Now, all the important LCK ones we talked about. We said Burger
Can't think
King would
of
be
a
D
single
tier.
other LCK midliner that's like worth
Okay, Perks.
about.
Where do you think Perks was this year? I don't think Perks
Perks
was.
was bad.
Yeah, I don't like. There's this weird narrative that like, oh, Vitality was like getting destroyed, but Perks was the only. Like, I was like, I don't think that's true. I feel like
No,
Perks
Perks
was
just had
also like.
insane. Perks was just trying to do a Chovy cosplay. He just CS like shit ton every game.
All right, so we want to
He
put
wasn't very good.
Perks in the C tier
I
with
put him.
Niski Abadage.
I put him above. Yeah, I put him
Abadage.
above Bergson.
I put him above Abadage but below Niski this year, right?
Yeah.
Because when Neski came into like Mad Lions, he actually like carried the team. Perks had all year to be like better, but he didn't really show it, you know. Okay. ADC
Guma. Just Guma.
S plus Jackie Love. No, I'm kidding. Guma Yushi. Guma looked like the best AD. Next in line is Viper and Ruler. From my perspective, I think it's Viper and Ruler.
Hyper Ruler.
A tier. Um, do I have to say it? Will
Hmm?
do I have to say who's in
Daft.
A tier?
Daft, baby.
Do you know who's in A tier? Will
Daft. Daft.
it's Jackie Love? No, it's Gala. Gala looked better than Jackie Love this year. I think Gala actually looked good. I think I watched like his team collapse around him. After that, I would put Deft and I would put Jackie Love all in A tier.
Oh, baby. Daft. The boy.
Um, After that, I would put in A minus tier. Diakdom, maybe. Yeah, Diakdom.
Yuck,
I feel like the problem with Diakdom is that he was like an Aphelios one trick. Um,
Yeah.
but he was a pretty good like ADC when he got it. It's just he was an Aphelios one trick, which is like not great. And then
He did
after,
good damage. He hit generally good damage.
I think
Him
he
and
was generally
Hope were
good.
kind of like the same.
Yeah, I'd also put Hope there. I think Hope was more versatile than Diakdom, but the problem with Hope is that he ints a lot in the mid game. He actually looked more like Jaculov than Jaculov did, where like he would just be caught out in mid game, which is really shit. Um, it's very unfortunate because I like Hope and Diakdom are like very similar in that aspect. Um, who's the other? So LCK was Guma, Ruler, Deft, and Diakdom, right? LPL was Viper, Gala, Jaculov, Hope, right? I think B tier we should put Berserker. Um, Berserker and Upset. I think they look like the best Western 80s.
Berserker at Worlds though was pretty bad, but C9 went imploded
C9
at
drafted
Worlds.
him
So
like some dog shit. Well, how many MF games was he
yeah,
in?
uh, a lot. He played a lot of MF and Varus, and he played Jinx as well. I think.
Oh, you know who should be above actually? It should be Comp. It should be Comp and Upset. Upset Comp, and then we'll put
Yeah,
I think B minus Berserker because I can't put him
outside
in T
comp.
tier.
Yeah, Berserker can't be that bad.
Berserker cannot be in C tier. Like inherently he is too good of a player. Like C tier starts with like Hiyori. Um,
Yeah, because Kaori played better than FBI and
what's his the G2 one?
Berserker.
Oh, you think
Blockade sucks.
yeah, like I would put FBI and Flocked in a D.
Yeah. I don't think Kiori's better than Berserker, but I think he played better. But that's just because I
Yeah.
think he was on better
Yeah, I
champs.
think they drafted Lucian for him like
He was
every
on
game, right?
Lucian. He was on Varus.
Yeah, I feel like
He got to play
Kyra
big
got
champs.
draft like yeah got priority with draft,
Yeah,
and I
they
feel like
gave
the
him
real
better
shitters were basically FBI Flocked. Oh, the Flying Warriors
Black.
ADC Shun. Shun was actually quite good. I would put
Yeah, he
Shun
was
with
pretty good.
Upset and Comp actually. I think Shun actually looked pretty good. Is there anyone else we're missing? I don't think so. Oh, who was the one for Mad Lions? You remember his name? Was he?
Karzi? Oh no,
No, it's not Carzy. Carzy is also
Uh,
in like FT, dude.
Unforgiven is his name.
Yeah, I don't think I think
I can't
Unforgiven was like
forget about him.
oh, I don't know what his performance was like, but I think he was better than FBI and Flocked. Like,
Probably. I don't know how crazy. It's hard to see AD tell good ADs unless they're like really making big plays.
I'll just put him in the same tier as Kyori. I don't. I actually think Unforgiven is quite good, but he's not insane. F tier, Carzy. Let's just preempt this. I think Carzy is shit. I don't know why.
Everyone thinks he's so good. I think he's worse than Patrick.
Yeah.
I think
Uh,
Patrick's better.
so Prince is an interesting one. Prince was actually quite. He was like the heart
Prince is
of
really good.
Sandbox. I would put Prince in A tier with Yakdom and Hope. Like
Yeah.
he's a bit below, but Prince was kind of the heart of Sandbox. Like he was the reason they're winning. Um, he was the most notable one. Aiming is also notable, but aiming I don't think was as strong. I would put him. I would put aiming below, probably in like B tier. He would be below Prince.
I'll go Uzi.
Uzi was not here this year, basically.
Uzi.
LPL. Oh, Light. Light was also in the same tier. Light was basically carrying. Photic was in a tier below. I would also put Photic in B tier.
Yeah, Patrick was alright.
Yeah, Photic got worse though as in during playoffs. Like you could see that he was just getting they were getting 2v2'd people that better than them. Huanfen was also not amazing this year. I'll put him in B minus. He's a good ADC, but he did not perform as well. But he also his Soften was shit this year. Only so much you can do. Oh, LWX actually looked better than Huanfen this year, but he looks similar. I'll put him above Huanfen. I'm not going to rate Doggo. Actually, I will. I'll put him in F tier with Cars. Doggo did not. People, Doggo defenders. Okay. EU, we rated Upset. Oh, where do you think Patrick would be here? Patrick was better than Flocket and Unforgiven, I feel like. I feel like Patrick would be high C tier here. Going into next year, that lineup is interesting. That's the only like notable EU ADC I would want to rank. That oh, Neon. Neon was also quite good this year. No, like Neon is.
Yeah, he's okay.
Do you think he's better than Patrick? I thought they were similar.
No.
Probably.
I think they're similar. But he's better.
Okay. That's all we need to do for ADC, I think. Are there any else? Double lift. Where's double lift, Will?
Oh, S tier, S plus.
Okay.
Just kidding.
What other LCS ADCs are notable? I don't think there are, right? Oh, Danny.
Danny.
He's not going to play next year, though. There's no point in rank.
Yeah.
Danny is like LCS deft. Um, okay, support S plus
Because the next best ADC that didn't go to Worlds was Luger, I think. But
was who?
is it worth ranking Luger?
Oh, Luger. Nah,
I also don't have like an S tier name. Yeah,
that is a
it's
cool
not.
name. That is a pretty cool name.
That name's fucking dope.
Okay, so in terms of supports,
This was
it's
support
Carrier
was
then
a
Barrel.
tough one.
It's
Yeah.
Carrier then Barrel, and then after that, I don't think anyone
Barry
else
had
is
a
like
better
close.
tournament. Barrel had just a nuts run.
I just think Carrier is a better player.
Yeah.
um, after that, like I don't actually think there's any other S tier supports. I feel like
Nah.
I would have to just say like the Korean supports were more versatile, mainly being like, well, yeah, Lee Hens and
Hans was
Helen were more versatile, but I don't even think they were that much above like Mako and Missing. I think Mako and Missing were fine for the most part. I think the only one that like was a bit below this year was Ming, because Ming could not play Enchanters. And
I still
then
think it's crazy that Barrel was like the only one of the only supports to actually play the Heimer. It's kind of wild.
yeah, were there any Western supports that were notable this year? Hylissang looked awful this year. Um,
I thought Targamas was pretty decent.
yeah,
He was like the only player on GT that was doing anything. Uh, Hilly, Hilly, Hilly always does things for
Hilly looked really
Fnatic,
bad
but
this year.
he just
Hilly
runs
looked like
them.
he was just.
He's involved in every play that they make, but
I think
does
Vulcan
that
looked
really
better than
matter?
Hilly. I would put Vulcan in
I
C
thought
tier.
who he was better than than Hylissang.
I'm gonna put Huhi in D plus. I think that 100 Thieves, like a lot of their players, just look really bad. To be honest, like their entire bot side was just ass. Um,
Yeah. Grimby was okay.
yeah, Trimby I would put also in C plus. With I would put him above Vulcan. Actually, I would put him above Mark just because they did not like. Yeah, TES debuff. Ugh, 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 ugh. All right. Oh, Sven. I don't think Sven looked good.
Yeah,
I think Sven
not
I gotta
Sven.
put in D
Sven is
plus.
changing back out of off support
No,
as
no,
well.
he's staying support.
Oh,
Jack
he is?
announced
I
it.
thought he
Yeah,
was changing.
yeah. Berserker wanted Sven to stay, so Sven is gonna stay
Oh,
probably.
interesting.
I'll put Sven above who he. Oh, do I put him above who? Dude, 100 Thieves look so bad, but so did C9. They both went 1-5. Okay, but okay, 100 Thieves lost the game to Flying Oysters though. Like that has to be said. I cannot believe that they lost the Flying Oysters that first game. That is insane. That is fucking crazy to me that they lost to Flying Oysters. Support tier list. Who is the support for Mad Lions again? Oh, Kaiser. Um,
Kaiser. He's
Kaiser
decent.
didn't look good at Worlds, but I'll be honest, I would still rank Kaiser C tier just because I think he's actually a good player. I'll put him here for C. Are there any notable supports in the world? I feel like we're in a major support deficit, like worldwide. Like there's not actually like.
JJ from NA,
Where'd you
but
put Core
he
here? Would you put him B? Because
I'd put him in C.
you
I
put him
think I'd
C
put
with
him
the
top of
rest.
C. I probably he's like between C and B, I guess. How much? The problem is it's hard to compare supports because how much
Yeah.
worse is he than Ming? I guess.
Yeah, I don't think Core would be if he was playing in a Korea. I think Core would
Yeah.
be better than Ming, or at least similar, right? I don't think he would be better on Engage, but he would be more versatile than Ming. Like he would be at least A tier. If Core was like playing there, he would be A tier, at least.
Life's pretty good.
Oh, wait, which team was Life on though this year? He wasn't on Gen G anymore.
KT.
He was KT Life.
Yeah.
Life and Bible, both.
BB God.
PP God was worse than Ming though. I would put PP God in C tier,
Yeah.
like above Targamas. Um, where would I put? I did not watch enough
Oh,
Life.
what's his name? The
Crisp,
FPX support.
Crisp.
He's pretty good.
He's not FPX this year, but
No,
he's
no,
good. But
Hong.
the
Hong.
oh
Is
Hong.
it
Oh
Hang?
yeah, I thought Hong was very. I thought he was better than Ming
Anga's
actually.
good.
I put him above Ming.
Lucas was pretty good as well for Invictus. Every time I watched an Invictus game, he always looked like he stood out.
Yeah, it's hard. The IG roster, I think Lucas. That's probably like some over performances because overall Lucas is not
Yeah.
great.
Chris, and what about Chris? You know,
Crisp was just on a
were you
really
bored for
shitty
Chris?
team this year. But realistically, I think Crisp is like at least like PB God tier. I would put Crisp here. I think Crisp is near target. I think that's all the important. Oh, Mako. I forgot about. Oh no, I did put Mako. Um, yeah, that's pretty much everything that's important. What about the LCS? Other LCS supports we had.
Sports Afro move.
Portrait Afro.
Unironically, Biofrost I think was one of the best sports in NA this year, but
Ooh,
I don't know if it's worth ranking.
yeah.
Yeah,
I just so I wanted to do this because it's interesting to think about before we see the rosters and then how we adjust this once we see the rosters, because this is kind of the reaction of like players where we think they're ranked and then some domestic players like post worlds. Um, this does match up with like what I said before with like what my first team is and second team is, right? Like if I were to tell you my first team, it'd basically be like you could pick between 369 and Zeus, you know? Depends. I think Zeus has like more interesting like pocket picks, right? Because he plays the Jace, he plays the Fiora. Or not the Fiora, sorry. He plays the Jace and he plays the um Yone. But I think on other champions though, 369 look better. 369 actually look better on the meta. He looked better on Fiora, Sejuani, Aatrox, mostly those three, right? But even like let's say Ornn, he's probably at least similar to Zeus, you know. Jax, you can play Jax as well. So take one of those two. Then it's Canyon, Zika, Guma, and Keria. Next team you'd pick, you'd just take the other top laner, right? So like Zeus, Kanavi. You could take any of the S tier mid laners. Kind of just depends on your flavor. Solo lane stats looked the best was probably Knight. Most activity looked like Showmaker, but then like Scout, you could argue, you know, is kind of between the both, and the Chovy is very similar to Knight. But it seemed like that team was also pretty dysfunctional. And then you'd take, you know, Viper or Ruler and then Barrel. So this does pretty much line up with where I thought first team and second team. And you can see the shitters and underperformers in kind of like Fudge, Blabber, Abadake, Blockade, and Ilisang, which I would describe as the shitters this tournament. So, yeah.
yeah. Flocken's not even going to be. He's got. He's not even going to be in a starting spot next year.
Yep.
He's going to be an academy for heretics,
Yeah, he's in an
which just
ERL.
shows that how bad of a year he had.
Yep. Gonna be an ERL next year. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think G2 made that decision because they were doing, what is it called? They were screaming EDG that Worlds. So they're like, oh, Flocket's pretty good. But I think maybe got baited by those scrims. So we'll see.
E2 just hasn't had a good ADC in a while. Like they had Reckless, but like Reckless didn't look good for them. Maybe they're just a team that should have a guy like Ghost. You know, that's why they
Well,
hit like Hjarnan was their best ADC. And, you know,
well, Perks
that
was the
dude's
ghost, right?
fucking yeah.
Well, like, don't you feel like that's what Flocket was supposed to be? He was supposed to be kind of like the weak side ADC while Caps and BB do their shit topside with Yankos.
Yeah. BB was supposed to be like the central like focus of the team, but it seemed like they never really got around to doing it at Worlds at least.
Which NA team is most exciting for you going into next year?
Going into next year, do we have the official rosters though?
Well, in terms of the
Because
rumors,
the
basically,
rumors,
I'm
the most
asking
exciting
you:
team
are you
is
most
100
excited for
Thieves.
100 Thieves, or are you most excited for?
100 Thieves.
Okay, okay.
If there's a potential team that it's speak a double lift, like
Well, but are you excited because you think they would? Because I'm excited for TL. I want to know if their experiment works. Like that's why I'm excited for TL. I want to see like if the
what's the rumors
Korean.
for TL?
So TL is going full Korean. So they're gonna take Core JJ. They're gonna take like a import. They're gonna take a domestic mid and ADC. So they're from their academy team, Yeon the ADC, and like I forgot who their mid laner is called, but two domestic players who speak Korean, and they're gonna import jungle and top lane. Um, so they are trying something experimental. I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Where do you think the do you think the Hundred Thieves roster is going to go if they do end up going with this double of speaker roster?
I don't know. It depends. I feel like this is one of those rosters that like depends on morale.
Because I haven't
So,
heard anything about Closer going to EU,
oh,
so it
you
makes
mean
me
the
think that
current
he's
100 Thieves
staying in
roster?
NA.
Okay.
Yeah, like the current one.
So I heard FBI might be going back to GGS with Huhi. They might go to GGS. 100 Thieves is deciding between Someday and Tenacity, or potentially Summit. It seems like the rumors are, which is weird to me. I'm surprised Summit would want to come back. And then if they
So has there been rumors of Tenacity moving to
EG,
yeah.
but apparently that was a verbal agreement and then got blocked later on by 100 Thieves. So it's possible that 100 Thieves decides to go full like NA, which would be like Tenacity, Spica, Bjergsen, Doublelift, and Busio. They could become like the North American team. And then FlyQuest is going to be the big money team with Papa Smithy, something like that. But Takui's gone, so Takui's going back to LFF.
I'm interested to see what that FlyQuest team looks like.
Yeah, it seems like they got new investors, so they're going for more of a money, or at least like trying to
Yeah,
buy more
I was
of the
trying to think
roster.
of like what they're who they could get that would make that team like good.
So Jensen's off C9. C9 is basically rerunning the roster with a new mid laner, like a rookie mid laner.
Yeah.
Also, potentially Fudge was in hot water. See what happens with him. Well, we know Berserker Sven is pretty much confirmed, and then Blabber most likely. And Jensen is guaranteed gone.
Yeah, if I'm C9, I don't know what I do around Blabber. I think he's one of the most interesting players because I think he looks so good yet so bad all the time, and I just think it's so hard. It's so tough to decide what to do with a guy like that.
If I were to make a prediction for 100 Thieves, I think they will make worlds and then get stuck in groups. uh,
It's not a tough prediction
okay,
to
okay,
make,
okay,
man.
okay,
It's every NA
but
team.
okay, okay, but I think like they will mental boom and get stuck in groups because it's a double lift team. And it's going to be a very
Yeah.
morale based team. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, come on. It's double lift Bjergsen. As soon as they start losing the game, who is
Yeah, I
going to.
don't know, man. I like at some point, like I think if you're really trying to win, I don't know if you go Bjergsen anymore.
I don't think so either. I think you should have grabbed Jensen, but
Like it'll be good for morale because of and it'd be great for their
yeah.
their org because Bjergsen, but I don't think Bjergsen has it anymore. I don't think he's a top level player, but
Yeah.
maybe he's got something to prove. Again, but fuck, I don't know. All the NA teams kind of seem outside of like, of course, the top ones. Like I know Immortals is gonna come out with some dog fucking wild turtle ass roster, and I'm gonna be pissed. But
Why do you hate Wild
uh,
Turtles?
I don't hate him, but it's like it just pisses me off when these bottom tier teams, instead of just going for like a roster of young players, they're like, let's go with fucking Destiny and Wild Turtle, or
That is true. Destiny is shit.
let's spend up on PoE again. It's like, what are we
Okay.
doing out
But
here?
like unironically, what would it take for Immortals to get your fandom back?
They would have to get. They would have to bring back. What's his name? Garrett. Is that
The
his
GM?
name? Yeah, the GM who actually like gave a shit
Damn,
and
the
like
guy who
ran the
like
game
overspent all the rosters.
before they sold it to Optic, or like the Optic's parent company, or whatever the fuck that was.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah, because that shit sucked. Uh, man, because like I love Immortals. I was a huge fan
You
of
own their
it, but
shirt.
yeah, big fan of that fucking team. But they just decided to make just terrible decisions at every corner, and they still make terrible decisions consistently.
How would you rebrand the team? Just go with the NA Young Gun strategy?
I would either because I think there's two options that you could do if you're running an esports org like Immortals, who isn't really known. Because like they're known within the league space. So you feel like they should have a good league team or at least a competitive league team. But you're never gonna be competitive if you keep getting these shitty ass rosters. So either you have to just go out and you have to pay up a little more for and hope that like some young guns from like another team that were like good in academy work, you know, get a guy. I don't know. If I watched enough academy, I would know. But you'd have to go that direction and just hope that something hits, or you have to go for it, or you have to try to build brand and focus more about like maybe like because if I was them when I first joined the league, when they were like re-announced, I would have been like, okay, we're gonna take this next year, potentially year and a half to 2 years, and I would just pick up players that are gonna help you build a brand. I would focus more on my fucking content than
So
anything
you would have
and
made
try to build
the
a
double
fan
lift
base.
team.
What'd you say?
You would have made the double lift team then.
Yeah, like I thought it like when Dignitas rejoined, I said that they should have literally just made a content series with like I'm a cutie pie and Scara and like those
Dom.
those guys. Yeah, I think if they had like like a 5-part series or like some series like with them throughout the season, I think they would have had a lot more fans. Especially if like the players like I'm a cutie pie could bounce off of like whoever their ADC was. Like obviously I wouldn't have picked like you know Asta, whatever his name is, um Dio I guess now.
Oh yeah,
But like
I forgot.
I would have picked like players that like are like fun that people like, and then try to build a brand around. Obviously, the team's gonna fucking suck, but like, who gives a
So
shit? You're
why
already
do you
just fucking
think the
poisoned.
new up and coming league players don't build brands like the old ones? Because in the old days, you had people like I'm a cutie pie who had as a brand, Iris or.
Because I think a lot of the newer up and coming gamers are honestly a lot of them are like socially fucking awkward. Like it seems like, anyways.
Do you not feel like
They're
old
all like,
school gamers were socially awkward? Like if you take a look at
I think
Dom
they
from,
are,
like Dom from
but
the old days looked like a crack addict who would be like, heh 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 heh. Like he looked like the kind of guy
yeah,
who looked
I
like
think they're
that.
socially awkward. But I think a lot of the guys back in that time, a lot of them were playing with their friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now it's like a job, so it's
Mm.
like super stressful. They're constantly trying to like look at Danny, like dude fucking gave out because of how much pressure he felt he was under and stuff like that. It's like I think there was something to be said about the kind of players because like sneaky medios from playing together they developed like a following, but I don't think either one of those guys individually would have been like a crazy you know player if they like had to play now while like grinding and focusing on shit. But
So do you think
I
you would
don't know.
do like the Immortals content team with like sneaky medios if you could get those two together for a team?
Yeah, well, if I'm a team, I'm finding someone that's popular within the space and like creating content with them. Like in Valorant, I know you don't know much about Valorant, but like there's this fucking guy named Prod who is uh he's like a living meme. Like he's a meme, everyone shits on him, it's like that. But like a lower tier org who isn't really known by anyone signed him and like did content with him and then actually developed a fan base around it, and then they got a fan base, and then they were able to buy up in the second half and actually almost have like a really good team until franchising hit.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.